Welcome back to ClassicCarRestoration.com, where you, the do-it-yourselfer, fix up your vehicle to the standards that you want to get it fixed up to. It's been a while since we met. Been doing a lot of work here on the vehicle, a lot of Bondo work and sanding. Never any end to the sanding. Recently we've been working on the dash here, disassembling the dash. All of these knobs are all frozen shut. I've taken a couple of them off. I've had to resort to a grinder to actually get these things out of here. Just in the process of taking the speedometer set out here, the gauges, oil, temperature, fuel, amperes, and all I got to do here is to go ahead and undo this wire harness that's in here. I've had it taken the bracket off of here to be able to push this down, and got it. So there's your main gauge set. Wire and harness is intact. All we have to do is plug a new one back in. We'll send this one into the rebuild shop, but the finish is all tarnished and whatnot. The chrome's all been corroded off there years ago, so we'll probably just end up getting a replacement set for the gauge set. So we're just kind of working our way over, trying to get out any of these gauges that we can. Most of them, you can see somebody's been wrenching on this thing, and so as a result of it, it's completely stripped out. So we're just going to grind it off is what we're going to do. So we'll come in with our grinder, being careful not to damage the actual dash. It's a pretty delicate operation. You want to do as little grinding on there as you can because you don't want to damage the dash. I've already kind of done some damage, so we'll end up having to Bondo this up, but that's the only way that I know of to get rid of these damaged. You can see how corroded this all is here. The nuts all corroded off of there. So pretty much what you do is you just come in and grind these things off, and then we'll come back through sand and put some Bondo to smooth out any divots that we introduce by grinding. Here's our transmission hump. It's come out pretty darn good. It's kind of a little dusty right about now, but you can remember this thing here, and this is after we got the Bondo and about 2 coats of Bondo and a good sand job on it. So are you ready for a flashback on how that sucker used to look? Ta-da! You can see on this sucker here, the only thing left of it was the center section. All of these sides were welded back in with pieces of sheet metal to complete the repair job. And as you can see, came out pretty darn good. That's a wrap. Alright, I'm going to go ahead and grind the rest of these gauges off of here, and we'll get back with you in a bit. Whenever you're doing any grinding, you always want to make sure you don't put too much pressure on the surface that you're grinding, especially something like a dash, where if you put too much heat into this, you can warp it. And so you always want to kind of go over the areas very, very lightly, not gouge it in, and making sure that you don't put too much heat in. So we'll just go ahead and remove all of this stuff that we've found back in here, all these old gauges that are no good anymore. This one here, we'll go ahead and going to have to unsolder this one here, find out what that is. But we'll just kind of come back in through here and pull this stuff down so we can inspect it. Quite frankly, I don't even know what it is. But that's one of the main considerations when you're rebuilding a vehicle is, you know, how much work do you want to put into the vehicle and how much time and energy do you want to spend on that vehicle. If you can find a vehicle to restore that has a good dash that you don't have to disassemble, I highly recommend it. This baby here, this was a basket case, and man, there's hardly, it runs good, but all these gauges, because it was down on the coast, were all corroded out. And you can see here that these things are extremely rusted inside, all that corrosion product in there, you know, and they're just all stuck together. None of the gauges work, so we've got a collection of stuff here that we pull off our dash. Now the next step is to go ahead and sand this down, start doing a lot of internet work here. We got a lot of internet work ahead of us. We got to find a parts house that sells this stuff. You know, will they want this as a core, right? They may want this as a core, so never ever throw away any of your parts if you're thinking about rebuilding a stock vehicle, because they may want this in exchange for a rebuilt one. So you always want to save your main components of your vehicle, because a lot of times they require a deposit or a core return, they call it. So we're going to go ahead and proceed to clean the stuff out of the back here and figure out what we can salvage and what we can't. This is a cigarette lighter. It just unclips. But this is a great example here. Look at the corrosion on that thing. See that green in there? That's the copper tarnishing. You know, not worth saying. Now, you know, with that being said, this one needs a little bit more grinding to get it off there. That was a tough one. There's another corroded cable to something that we probably won't use, so we may end up just either getting dummy switches in there or welding them. I can't imagine what these three cable devices are for. You know, in the old days, this is what they had, is cable chokes and cable switches to operate all your mechanical devices, where nowadays everything's electronic and servo motors and relays. So that makes a lot more work for us. Check you later.